10minutefacts.com presents 10 minutes of fascinating facts about the Star Wars series, one of the most influential stories in the history of cinema. A saga that began as a risky idea and became a global phenomenon worth billions. It's the story of a vision that almost never happened, a production full of chaos, and a universe that changed pop culture forever. Here are facts that show Star Wars from a completely different perspective. The film that was supposed to fail. In 1977, very few people believed in its success. Test screenings received mixed reactions, and the studio feared a financial disaster. George Lucas was so stressed that on the day of the premiere, he left for Hawaii because he didn't want to watch the box office results. Just days later, the film became a sensation, with lines of hundreds of people forming outside theaters. Inspiration from Japan. Lucas was inspired by the films of Akira Kurosawa, especially The Hidden Fortress. The structure of the story and the relationships between characters share many similarities with the Japanese classic. It's a perfect example of how cinema from different cultures can merge into one story. Music that tells the story. The score was recorded with the London Symphony Orchestra. John Williams created character themes that work like storytelling without words. This is one of the reasons why the emotions of the film feel so powerful. Williams wrote the main themes before filming was completed, which helped shape the rhythm of the scenes. At a time dominated by electronic music, Lucas chose a classic orchestral sound, which became the signature of the saga. The secret of the sounds. The lightsaber sound was created almost by accident. A mix of a 35mm projector hum, a CRT television, and microphone interference produced the iconic sound known around the world. Darth Vader's breathing was recorded through a scuba regulator. Most of the sound effects in the original films were created by legendary sound designer Ben Burtt. How much Star Wars earned? The films have grossed more than $10 billion worldwide. The biggest success was The Force Awakens, with over $2 billion. The first film cost about $11 million and earned roughly $775 million, while The Force Awakens had a budget exceeding $500 million. This shows just how dramatically the scale of production has grown over the decades. The real fortune, toys. Lucas kept the merchandising rights, a decision that generated billions and changed Hollywood's business model. Toys sold so quickly that manufacturers sometimes sold empty boxes with coupons for future figures. The entire franchise, including toys, games, and clothing, has generated tens of billions of dollars. Actors' pay. During the first film, the cast was relatively unknown. Mark Hamill earned a few $100,000, while Harrison Ford received about $10,000 per week during filming. After the success of the series, their earnings increased dramatically. For his return in The Force Awakens, Ford received a multi-million-dollar deal and a percentage of the film's profits.
No, I am your father.
A voice that became iconic. Darth Vader's body was portrayed by David Prowse, but the voice belongs to James Earl Jones. His voice became one of the most recognizable elements of the saga. Disney and a new empire. In 2012, Disney acquired Lucasfilm for about $4 billion. One of the most important deals in entertainment history. Lesser-known facts about Star Wars. Yoda was performed by Frank Oz, who gave the character extraordinary expressiveness. The decision to use a puppet made Yoda feel more real than many CGI characters that appeared later. CGI stands for computer-generated imagery, images or characters created digitally. In the original trilogy, Yoda was an animatronic puppet, operated by a team of practical effects artists. During the prequels, the creators wanted to show him not only as a wise master, but also as a powerful Jedi warrior. The turning point came during the production of Attack of the Clones, where the script required a dynamic duel with Count Dooku. The puppet wasn't capable of such complex movements, so Industrial Light and Magic created a fully digital version of Yoda. Interestingly, in the first prequel he was still physical, but in later releases he was replaced with CGI to maintain consistency across the trilogy. Scenes on Tatooine were filmed in Tunisia, and some of the sets still remain there today. attracting fans from around the world. Filming in Tunisia was extremely difficult. Sandstorms destroyed sets, equipment stopped working, and temperatures were extreme. The crew had to rebuild sets multiple times and constantly adjust the shooting schedule. Lucas wanted the ships to look like worn machines, not sterile futuristic vehicles. The same applied to costumes, which were meant to look heavily used, not brand new. This approach made the world feel more believable. During the filming of The Empire Strikes Back, only a few people knew the real dialogue between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. A fake line was used on set, so no one would reveal the ending. The line spoken during filming was, "Obi-Wan killed your father," instead of the famous, "I am your father." The dialogue was filled with new terms and fantastical names. Some actors feared the film might look absurd. Only after the premiere did they realize how powerful the final result was. The shoot of the first film went over schedule and budget. In the Tunisian desert, sandstorms destroyed sets, equipment failed, and actors weren't even sure the movie would be finished. Spaceships were filmed using miniatures and computer-controlled cameras, technology far ahead of its time. During the filming of The Force Awakens, Harrison Ford broke his leg when the Millennium Falcon door closed too quickly. Production was paused for several weeks. Alec Guinness, who played Obi-Wan, was not a fan of the dialogue and considered it too simple. Despite that, the role brought him enormous popularity and a percentage of the film's profits. In very early script versions, Yoda was named Buffy. Lucas changed the name because he wanted something shorter and more exotic. In early drafts of The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader was not Luke's father. That twist was introduced later during script development. To create the effects for the first film, George Lucas founded Industrial Light and Magic, which later revolutionized visual effects throughout the industry. Chewbacca was partly inspired by Lucas's Alaskan Malamute, who often rode with him in the car like a co-pilot. That image helped shape the relationship between Chewbacca and Han Solo. The role of Han Solo was offered to Al Pacino, who turned it down. One of the most memorable scenes in the saga takes place in The Empire Strikes Back, when Han Solo is about to be frozen in carbonite. Just before he's lowered into the chamber, Leia says, "I love you." The script originally had Han reply, "I love you too," but Harrison Ford felt it didn't fit the character. He suggested the now legendary line, "I know." The director kept it because it perfectly captured the character's personality, confident, ironic, and true to himself. That's why the scene became cinematic history. The cantina scenes in Mos Eisley were filmed with a lot of freedom for extras and camera operators. Lucas wanted it to feel like a documentary from another world. So many gestures and reactions were spontaneous. In the duel between Obi-Wan and Vader in the first film, El Onger pauses were intentionally kept to emphasize the emotional weight of the meeting between master and student. Lucas believed his film would earn less than Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He offered to trade a small percentage of profits, a decision that later earned Spielberg a fortune. Although Steven Spielberg was not a creator of Star Wars, he was one of Lucas's biggest supporters. He watched early footage, encouraged him during production, and believed in the film when much of Hollywood was skeptical. Their friendship and shared approach to adventure cinema helped shape the modern blockbuster. In the Star Wars universe, a holocron is an artifact that stores Jedi knowledge. But Lucasfilm also created a real holocron, a massive internal database tracking characters, events, and timelines. It was managed for years by Leland Chee, whose official title was Keeper of the Holocron. Thanks to it, even with hundreds of books, comics, and games, the universe remained consistent. When Lucas negotiated the contract for the first Star Wars, he decided to keep merchandising rights. At the time, it seemed insignificant, but it became one of the most profitable decisions in film history. Kenner toys became hugely popular, allowing fans to recreate scenes at home. Over time, the brand expanded into clothing, accessories, books, games, and everyday items. The collaboration with Lego in 1999 also played a major role, bringing a new generation of fans and becoming one of the most popular brick series worldwide. Star Wars stopped being just a film and became a global phenomenon, living in toys, games, and daily culture. In 1978, the Star Wars Holiday Special was produced. It aired only once on television and turned out to be a huge disappointment. George Lucas never allowed an official release, and over the years it became one of the most embarrassing chapters in the saga's history. But as it turns out, something good came from it. It was the very first appearance of Boba Fett, who later became an iconic Star Wars character. Why Star Wars works. The saga combines elements of fairy tale, western, and war film. It's a universal story about hope, choices, and the struggle between good and evil. Legacy. Nearly 50 years after the release of the first film, the saga continues to inspire creators and audiences. It has become a permanent part of global culture. This is only part of the story of the galaxy that changed cinema forever. If you'd like to discover more fascinating facts about the greatest stories, characters, and places, stay with us for future episodes. We'd truly appreciate it if you left a comment and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for spending this time with us. For more facts, visit www.10minutefacts.com.